Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel where we discuss all things living here in the great state of Maryland. And today, wanted to make a video just going over a update in our real estate market here in Central Maryland. So it is October 3rd as of the filming of this video. So we're just getting started with the final quarter here in 2025. So it's crazy that it's already October, but yeah, just wanted to go over where we're at, what I'm seeing in the marketplace, just so you can kind of have some intel on what's going on, just in case you are considering jumping into the market. So market continues to be very confusing. And just kind of seeing a lot of things going on in our Central Maryland real estate market. I would kind of boil it down to a couple things. So it's going to be property to property, zip code to zip code, client to client, depending on kind of what what people are looking for and what the specific situation is. So when I say it's confusing, I kind of like to think of it. This is the way I see things. So, depending on what client you have, what they're looking at, I continue to have buyers who are unfortunately losing out on occasion in multiple offer situations on homes. Okay, I also continue to have clients who are specific to the buy side. So both sides. I have listings and buyers who are seeing multiple offers on properties quickly in the first weekend. I'm also seeing properties that are sitting longer, price reductions, buyers getting deals, and sellers having to come down from their current price on the market. So we're seeing both extremes and everything in between. So, and then of course you got a lot of situations where maybe the home survives the first weekend, but then later in that first 7 to 10 days, they're getting a good, strong, like list price offer, pretty clean, but nothing like, crazy or multiple offer situations. So we're seeing a lot of those three, which continues to make it confusing. And of course, that's going to come down to where the property is listed. So if you've got a home that's market value is 500 and you start at 475, well, you're going to get a few offers in that first weekend. It's going to look like the market's hot and on fire. But if that same 500 home is listed for 525, well, now you're going to see that home sit, and the market's going to probably pinch that seller to reduce that price if they're serious about moving the property. And so much of this comes down to pricing, and it makes the perception of the market very, very confusing unless you're doing kind of a dive into market value of the property before stepping into that home. Which is going to take, a little bit of time and effort and stuff. So most people aren't doing that. So just kind of, we're just kind of seeing how fast the property moves, and then just kind of, making a determination of the market at that point, which makes sense. So, that's kind of the biggest thing that I'm noticing. Where's the home priced based on market value, and that's going to determine what's going on. So that's why we're still seeing multiple offers. Homes selling in 3 to 4 days with 3, 4, 5 offers. We're seeing homes sit on the market, having to come down, and just kind of seeing all of that stuff. So all of that's mixed in the pot, and we're seeing it all. So this is what's part of what's making the market confusing. But overall, I would say if homes are priced right and you're a serious buyer, I would be prepared for a lot of these homes to still move pretty quickly. That's something that we're still seeing in the marketplace right now. As always, just like to mention that I am a licensed realtor here in the great state of Maryland. So if you ever have any real estate questions or wonder what it would look like for your personal situation to step into the marketplace as a home buyer, as a home seller, and want to have a conversation about that, feel free to reach out however you are most comfortable. And we look forward to having a conversation with you. All right, next, just wanted to jump into a few stats that were released in the most recent report from Maryland Association of Realtors to give you an idea on where our market is at. So first, we have been continuing to see this theme all of 2025 is units sold on the decline. And the most recent report is reflecting that again. So we're down 9% year over year. So there's 9% less transactions happening in the marketplace this time right now versus this time in 2024. So that just means there's just less transactions in the marketplace, less people listing their home, less options for buyers, just less overall activity and options in the marketplace. At the same time, we're seeing days on market on the rise. So currently we're seeing an average days on market of 16 days versus 10 days on the market last year. So we're seeing kind of a pinch of inventory, but at the same time, we're seeing kind of a slow in demand that, arguably by the days on market, increasing. So a lot of that, in my opinion, it's hard to know for sure, but a lot of that is just sellers pricing their home too high and figuring out the market quickly and then course correcting and getting their price down. So, it's really hard to pinpoint that in such a, large marketplace as because this number is a state number. So, but that if I had to put my 2 cents in on that, I think that's what it is. I think specific to the days on market is you're seeing sellers being aggressive as a whole with their price, and then realizing, uh-oh, we're not getting any showings or activity. Now we got to course correct, come down and meet the market where it's at. So, when it comes to days on market, that's what I'm thinking is going on. And then next we have home sale prices on the rise. So we've got the average home sale price up 4.5%, the median home sale price up 2.6%. So this just kind of adds, when I mentioned earlier that the market's confusing, all these things just, continue to make it that way, because you've got less overall transactions happening. Now, when you have less overall transactions happening, that makes sense that prices are going up, but it doesn't necessarily make sense that the days on market's going up too. So, just paying attention. I always continue to tell people, just continuing to pay attention to the zip code, the neighborhoods that you're paying attention to, and really like doing an analysis of homes in, specific to that area. So getting as local as possible can really help when you're kind of feeling out the exact area that you're wanting to focus on. So I think that's a big thing. When it comes to mortgage interest rates, so this is interesting and good too. We have been seeing, some pressure off of mortgage rates and some of those rates coming down. So right now we are currently seeing an average 30-year conventional rate at 6.36%. We're seeing the government loans, so your VA and FHA, just a little over 6%, 6.05%, and that's a national average. So of course you're going to see some lenders who are more aggressive and going to be a little less than that. I see some lenders above this when I'm kind of talking to lenders and kind of feeling out rates and stuff from time to time. So that's kind of what rates are looking at now. It's interesting though, because the Fed did the recent quarter rate cut, and they were closer to 6% prior to the rate cut. So I think that's just the market kind of expecting that coming and kind of baking that into the pie. And then once that rate cut was announced, we actually saw rates increase close to 0.25%. So, mortgage rates are interesting. They're not tied directly to the Fed overnight rate. They're sold, mortgage-backed securities through the bond market. So depending on, what the activity level and what demand is doing in the bond market, that's gonna kind of bleed in and really tie into where you see the mortgage rates being at a particular day and time. Now, of course, Fed policy is going to absolutely impact that. So I would, long term expect to see, rates, coming down as the Fed goes down. But we're not going to usually see like a real-time direct correlation with what the Fed's doing and mortgage rates. They are fairly separate in a lot of ways. So just something to keep in mind when it comes to mortgage rates as well. So if I had to boil it down to, a snapshot for each side, being like, if you're a seller in this market, what to pay attention to if you're a buyer in this market. So I'll start with the sellers. So sellers, I would just pay extra attention to pricing, comparable sales. Of course, we're always looking at, what's fully closed in the last 3 to 6 months. You want to be looking at closed sales that are as close to your property as possible, as far as like a radius standpoint, as close as possible and as recent as possible. But again, even in today's market, as demand continues to kind of settle and figure its way out, I like to look at coming soon and actives as well. So is there a home in your neighborhood that's active, and how long have they been on the market? And then even the pending and under contracts. I like to, when I'm listing a home, I like to make phone calls and kind of even on the under contract property, see kind of where they're at, feel them out. A lot of times they won't share specific details, but sometimes they will, and getting an idea for what a pending property is doing. Did they have to come down? Did they have to give seller concessions, and kind of feeling that out? So in this market, I'm putting less focus on closed sales. Of course, we're paying attention to that, but I like to look at actives and pendings to really get a feel for what the market's doing now versus maybe 90 to 120 days ago. So that's important for sellers to get priced right out of the gate, because if you don't get your best offers come in the first 7 to 10 days. So if that doesn't come, then if you're serious about selling a home, a price reduction is going to be something that may very likely be coming down the pipe if you're serious about moving the home. So when it comes to buyers, just kind of having, having conversations with your realtor up front about, exactly where you're looking at, exactly what's going on in that local, market that you are looking at, to really understand how quickly are homes selling and what to be prepared for. And then, homes that you're serious on, just quickly after seeing it, doing a market analysis to determine how quickly that home could likely sell. And then also understanding that pricing is all over the place right now. So if you're looking at a coming soon property that really checks a lot of boxes, there is still a real possibility that that home could end up with multiple offers if they price it under where it, under market value or right at market value. And then also understanding that if they are off, so, this is where analyzing the price comes in. If they're high, there's a good chance that home's going to sit as well. So just having a decent, ballpark understanding of value of the property, so you can gauge how quickly that thing's going to move, because it's, the possibility of it, selling with 3 or 4 offers in the first weekend, and then there's a possibility of it sitting for a good 30 to 60 days if they're off on, meaning high on the price as well. So, anything can happen, and just kind of being prepared as much as you can going into it can be very helpful. So thanks so much for watching, guys. If you ever have any real estate questions, feel free to reach out, and we'll see you at the next video.